Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to today's edition of Beyond the Ordinary Show. And thank you for joining us at 12 p.m. Pacific, and however that translates to your time in your part of the world if you're joining us live. And today we have the amazing Zoe Davenport, and she's really bringing in a very embodied and multidimensional experience of rebirth and renew. And we're going to get deep into that conversation, and she's going to share with us the power of emotional clearing to release stagnant energy and welcome higher frequencies, connecting with quantum visualization. And we're going to get into what that means, and maybe even an exercise, I don't know, to unlock your inner potential for rapid transformation. And then the role of daily practices um, in cultivating balance, clarity, and deeper spiritual alignment. But if I know Zoe, there's going to be layers of unfolding and what's available as not just the sharing, but the transmission comes through. And also we'll get into live Q&A so that you can experience um, a direct transmission and guidance from Zoe on today's call as well. So hope y'all hang back, enjoy the call, get ready to raise your hands to ask personal questions if you're guided to. Um, and with that, Zoe, welcome to today's call.
Thank you, John. It's really good to be here, everyone, and appreciate you changing the time for me so I wasn't going to be too asleep.
Of course, of course. It's, I didn't go through your bio, and I wanted to ask you so that everybody can experience your sharing. You call yourself a multi-dimensional channel. What does that mean to you now?
Yeah, evidently it's time to refresh the bio. And I would say, what does it mean to me now? I would say the word embodiment comes to mind, and that's really where the direction has been wanting to flow the last few years. Is as much as I was kind of going on this deep inner journey and understanding some of these kind of higher dimensional realms of consciousness and existence, there's been this kind of invitation to bring that back into the humanness and bring that in back into the body. So I feel like I've been the most humaning than I have in the past 15 years, this past year to 2 years. And so even this concept of multidimensional channel is the ability to access different parts of you on different planes of consciousness. And also, what does that mean for the human? How does that help the human? How does that help the human race? How does that help us step into deeper levels of unconditional love and compassion? So I'd say that's where I'm at with it at the moment.
Mm. Well, it sounds like a rebirth and a renewal.
Yes.
So let's get into this topic. Why is rebirth and renew prevalent for you right now, and how are you seeing that there's a way for the collective and those showing up for these calls and working with you um, as far as this a point of pivot in our journey during this time?
So one thing I've experienced over the last 15 years is as soon as you start to get an awareness of who you think you are and what you are to be in this human experience, there is something else that catalyzes a huge shift in our lives. And so we go through multiple rebirth and renewal processes. And the more experience we have through these processes, the more we're able to understand when it is the moment to fully let go and surrender to what is collapsing in our reality. So we talk about collapsing of timeline shifts and making quantum jumps in our lives. Most people equate that to abundance or an acceleration of specific things that they were wanting to manifest. I look at it through a different lens of coming into more alignment to who we are beyond those layers of control, expectations, and attachments. And so these rebirth cycles that we're in can be really uncomfortable because we have to essentially give up the identity of who we thought we were in order to become who we are more aligned to be. And in that in between stage, it can be really nerve wracking because we don't know where we're going. We don't know what we're doing. We don't know how we're going to get there. But we know that the person who we were is no longer resonating. And sometimes certain things can collapse very fast in our physical reality, whether it's a job, whether it's a particular amount of money that we had, whether it's relationships, whether it's friendships, whether it's shifting of family connections. And it's essentially feeling like we're in a big washing machine. And when we let go and surrender into that process, we may not necessarily have the key understandings of where we're going, but the first step starts to be revealed to us. And quite often that first step is just surrender to the rebirthing experience. And then with that comes that gestation period, that kind of cycle of slowing down, of grounding, of almost, I like to call it kind of fetch wood and carry, like chop wood and carry water. This kind of very simple process of the daily actionable steps that we can take to connect to how we want to feel. And that's through a dedicated practice of opening our hearts, through meditation, of taking care of our physical bodies, through sleep, through eating well. And on the collective level, particularly 2025, what I'm seeing, and I'm speaking to a lot of intuitives and seers like myself, is collectively we're going through this big rebirthing cycle. And a lot of disclosure that's happening is having humanity awaken to the truths that they thought were reality weren't exactly the truths that they may have been told. I mean, we look at what's come out in Egypt recently with the tiny 2% snippet that they've sent us of what they're seeing with that technology to look underneath the pyramids, and they're putting together a 4-hour presentation of the rest of their findings. Well, the fact that that's being shared on a global scale is our awareness as a global tribe of history is about to change. And so there's mass awakenings happening through these kind of macro experiences, and then that's also sending ripples on our micro experience of so sometimes when we're going through these rebirthing cycles, it's individual, but it's also collective. And I want to preface this as well, thank you, is we're not going through these rebirthing cycles to clear anything on a collective level. We are having our individual experience, and by definition, the more that we are aligning to our true soul's essence and who we are, that will have an effect, that will have a ripple effect on our relationships, on our friends, our families, on the person we let out in traffic, and. So I'm personally really excited for the next 5 years as a humanity, and I'm excited for my personal journey over the next 5 years, and I'm excited for all of your journeys over the next 5 years. We're in a very, very pivotal moment. And the invitation, should we choose to accept it, is to walk through the door, not necessarily knowing where it's going, but knowing that if we continue to be led through our heart space, what is available to us will be so much more transformative than where we've been before. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I just kind of like downloaded a bunch of information, and I was trying to kind of tie it in.
It makes a lot of sense. The example of what's being revealed in Egypt underneath and the technology that's there is a great illustration of how it makes us come to a reckoning of what we didn't know, and we have to re-identify with new information. And so what you're sharing in relevance to the renewals that are taking place, what's happening in the collective, if you will, disclosures in many ways. We can look at it in a macro from what's happening around the world, but what's being disclosed in our personal lives as well. That's causing us to have a new interpretation and a reclamation of something that feels more anchored in our own truth, rather than trying to figure out how we can piece ourselves into partial truths that belong to other people or that were given to us based on who we were told that we had to be, or how we can relate to one another in different specific ways. So um, again, for me, it's that we're in an accelerated period of more things being revealed to us because we're at that consciousness individually to receive those. And if you will, the collective consciousness is also being more informed and expanding, that more of that revelation has to come to the surface. It just does. It can't be just contained in the way that it was anymore. Um, Another thing that you mentioned, and I will want to, I'd love for you to go deeper into this, because it's one thing to say, as we surrender and we allow ourselves to surrender and to go ahead and surrender, and if we just surrender, and that's wonderful. And consciously, we can say that we're willing to. And there's some things that we hold on to that are hard to let go of in our identification, how we've created comfort, how we've created safety in our lives. And then there's what runs subconsciously that we can say surrender, but we don't really know what we're even surrendering. So as you speak of that huge part of the alchemy that is taking place for the rebirth, what is it that we can do as individuals to ride the wave and relax into the not knowing, relax into being guided, relax into, again, if you will, the surrender, so that we're not our own worst enemies during this expansion?
Yeah, it's a good question. So how I see it is fear is a controlled based kind of program that is directly linked to the subconscious, that keeps us in a state of fight or flight, that keeps us in a state of uncertainty, because it's the uncertainty that blocks us from truly surrendering and leaning into the experience of what we have in our lives, or not knowing where we're going, or not knowing how the shifts are going to occur. And the key with this is to take the conscious out of the subconscious and put it through as the eyes of observer. So if you kind of imagine yourself, you're in your human physical body, you've got your hands, you're looking through your eyes, you're looking around. I'm like, okay, so I've got an awareness of this is where my consciousness is at in this moment. And then bringing your consciousness behind the back of your head. So your consciousness has eyes and it's looking through your head, through your eyes at your hands. And you're kind of looking around. And we can try this if you're listening at home. So you're kind of looking around. So imagine that your consciousness is here. So that is getting into observer mode, where you're observing yourself. So I'm observing myself in uncertainty, which is not allowing me to fully let go or fully surrender. Because when we in the surrender, we create space for what wants to come through. And so in the observation, we can ask questions and be self-aware. Okay, so what am I afraid of? Okay, so I'm afraid of losing my job and not having enough money. Okay, what am I afraid of not having enough money? I'm afraid of not paying my rent. Okay, so what am I afraid of not paying my rent? I'll be out on the streets, I'll be homeless. Okay, what am I fearful of to be homeless, etc., etc. And you can go into these kind of subconscious thought beliefs and ask, okay, what do I need to do to clear it? How can I empower myself in this moment to set a new state of conscious beliefs, a new state of thought, and so that I can take control of that subconscious? And through, when you're in the observation of it, it's not to then kind of go into the story of the fear. It's just, oh, I'm observing myself. I'm fearful of losing my job. I'm observing myself that I'm fearful of not making enough money. I'm fearful of, etc., etc. So these are some of the exercises that I do in the 21-day programs, and in one-on-one sessions, we go into this a bit deeper. But when you're in the observation of your thoughts, you're allowing yourself to be conscious and present of what thought are you subconsciously choosing in that moment, and you can shift the thought. Okay, so what would it feel like to think a different thought in this moment? I have more than enough. I am enough. I am worthy. I have plenty. I'm overflowing with everything that my human physical body and being needs in this reality to thrive and expand and feel so deeply embodied and taken care of. And then allowing yourself with that conscious thought, I'm choosing to shift my state of consciousness in this moment. And I'm choosing through this narrative that I'm telling myself that I'm choosing to feel a different feeling. And then allowing yourself to imagine, go into that kind of visualization space of how does it feel that everything is taken care of? How does it feel that without me needing to control, or without me needing to know the exact steps or the roadmaps of what I'm going to do in my physical reality, that I'm so supported and taken care of? How does that feel in my body? And if you notice then, when you're in that observation, if there's any areas of resistance or tightening, because your body will respond to you, it will kind of feel like, oh, I'm getting a bit of an ache in my hip or something in my shoulder. Just connecting to that part of the body. Okay, I am supported, I am safe. And how do I choose to feel in this moment? And so you can continue with that process until you literally are feeling a different embodied state and a different thought consciousness. And often we forget the simplicity of, we can consciously change our thoughts in every single moment. And it almost becomes a game that we can do this multiple times a day to start shifting. And so that's kind of one process, that's one exercise that we can do to allow ourselves to surrender into the uncertainty. And most of the time, the uncertainty is obviously coming from, you know, an inner child need that hasn't been met, or an inner child need that we're not necessarily listening to that inner child. And most of the time when we go into that, the inner child just needs to know that they're safe, that they're loved, that they get to play.
Well, I think what's also coming to light more, that there's a couple of things that I think are really pivotal in where we are now in our consciousness. Because yes, there's inner child that comes into play, but there's also been a cultural entrainment that we've just taken for granted, that that's the way it works, that those are the rules, that let's put our focus and our attention in a particular spot, and let's keep that steady because we don't know how else to look at it. And what you're referring to is also bringing me into the great awakening power that we're stepping into, and how we're creating our realities, the authority that we've taken back. And so even for the last paradigm of 15 years of personal and spiritual transformation, there's still the looking outside of us instead of realizing that we are the observer. Again, instead of really touching into spirituality means meeting quantum physics. If I look at the atom and give it my attention and focus, it splits in a particular way. The second I give it my attention, it creates a direction for it. And so what we're actually doing is we're alchemizing in this process that you're talking about. And again, we're grounding in our capacity to create with an object, which is a very spiritual concept. Because what creates that miracle? That's science still hasn't identified that. But science has identified that if we focus on it in a particular direction, there it goes. And then it has the power to bilocate and affect another atom that's part of the same group of energy simultaneously across multiple timelines, across different places of being. So it's what you're sharing is really speaking into this evolution of consciousness, of how we're recognizing just how powerful of creators that we are. And by implementing tools, technology that we have at our disposal, and by being in a practice with it rather than believing that we're being victimized by something outside of ourselves, we're really taking back the authority of our lives, and to get back into a place where we're really functioning from our soul blueprint, rather than on the blueprint that's being dictated by another, that is really enforced by a lot of fear and manipulation and control, that doesn't have the reverence for the individual as perhaps it could.
Mm.
So there's a lot that's shifting there, and what you're bringing back into awareness and grounding in through, as a multidimensional channel, grounding it into this physical channel to carry it out. It's quite profound and so effective.
Yeah.
And again, if we only apply that awareness and those tools and trust in the practice, because a lot of times we'll practice something for a little bit of time and it'll kind of work, and then we'll get back into the old habits. But what
Yeah.
happens if we really dedicate ourselves to this? The effects are profound.
What was coming through as you were sharing is most of the time we have a subconscious program to run disempowered beliefs that create disempowering choices, which create disempowering, sabotaging steps and actions in our reality. And one thing that I've witnessed in working with, at this stage, thousands of clients around the world and speaking to numerous people time and time again, is the lack of consistency is what truly holds us back from those bigger breakthroughs in our reality. And something that was brought to me again this week was, sometimes we're in different seasons in our lives as well. We might be in a period of winter or a period of summer. So when we're in winter, like, our crops have been cut back and we're in a bit more of a stillness. But that period of winter is a great time to take excellent care of self and be in a period of creativity. Spring is a great time to start sowing those seeds and planting intentions and creating space and cleaning up the physical field for that. And we don't have to be in a season based on an annual season. We can be in our own individual season as well. And the consistency with what you were sharing on your focus and on your attention, on your intentions. And it's like we have to continue to be in the repetition of that till that becomes the new known version of self, the new known version of reality. And it's like when you're a child, if you tell a child, hey, there's a broom, but you tell the child, hey, there's a magical unicorn, go ride it. The kid is straight away, like in their imagination, right? I'm riding on my magical unicorn. You give a broom to an adult and say, hey, that's a unicorn. They're like, it's a broom. What do you mean it's a broom? Like, no, just imagine. Don't be silly. This is a silly game. We have to evoke the silliness of our childhood nature by definition to create change and actionable change in our realities that is from that higher state of consciousness, which is play, which is pleasure, which is connected to purpose, which is running our systems through our spoken word of positive, impactful choices that we then get to make. And so they've done tests and studies now that they're starting to understand that the language systems that we have on this planet actually affect DNA, that your individual tonal range actually affects your DNA. And so when we're speaking about who we are we speaking from a place of empowerment, or are we speaking from a place of our subconscious program? And so that's that kind of cycle that we're moving through. Thank you. And one thing that social media is terrible for this, the news is terrible for this, is the comparison piece is an instant kind of creativity blocker, right? So you imagine you're having an amazing day and you go on maybe sort of Instagram and you have this version of somebody else's life that think, oh, they're so spiritual, or they're so awakened, or they're so connected. And it kind of like disempowers us. And so we're all on our own individual journey. We're all on our own experience, and collectively we're together as one, but we are on our own individual journey. And so when we're going through massive periods of change, those times are really important to perhaps not be as social as we normally are, or not be as online, or not be with lots of people, and create the space for who you desire yourself to become. It's like that rising of the phoenix, right? We have to burn in order to become new out of the ashes. And as you know, John, I've shared this with some of the community. Last year I had a huge shift in experience where I was kind of on one trajectory of my life, and then I got news about my mother's impending death, basically. So I had to move back and completely change my life to care for her until she passed. And losing the mother in our realities, and I know you've gone through this, John, as well, with the passing of your mum, is probably one of the biggest physical deaths that we will experience on this planet, because that is the being that gave birth to us. So there's a real death and rebirth cycle wrapped up in that as well. And I'm not the same person as I was before that experience of caring for her, and so much healing, and also incredibly challenging times with it. And I am still just starting to kind of come out of the ashes of that experience. And when you were saying at the beginning of the call, oh, you're a multidimensional channel, I'm like, I don't even know anymore. I don't even know what the wordings are to represent who I am becoming. I'm still in that cycle. I'm still in the period of gestation, of growing and coming out of it through the integration. So it's on a personal level, this last year for me has been some of the most transformative experiences of my life, and I'm excited of who I'm going to become. And I'm in this process of fully surrendering, because it's not quite landed yet. And so I'm speaking what we're talking about. I'm embodying and experiencing what we're sharing with the audience and the community. And it is incredibly challenging and uncomfortable. And I feel very blessed for the constant reminders of the past 15 years and my spiritual practice and the consistency to allow this kind of peacefulness through this uncertainty and the uncomfortableness of that as well.
Yeah, well, there's several initiations that happen through those processes and through those experiences, and I want to talk about, because there's one particular initiation that it would seem so obvious, but it can be one of the most difficult ones to really go through. And as we talk about that, y'all, I want to get into Q&A here pretty soon as well, because the opportunity to work with Zoe, we're going to get into a special offer. There's a one-on-one option also that you can have 30 minutes with her that I want to get into, so that you can be aware. But I want you also to have a taste of what's being channeled through her at this time, and the support and guidance that's available. So y'all take advantage of this time here live on the call. Raise your hands and I'll start calling y'all in just a couple minutes. Again, we'll get into the special offer in a little bit as well. Chris, you can go ahead and put the link in the chat box if anyone wants to go ahead and sign up for the one-on-one session, or they know the package right away. Go ahead and take the time to do that as well. And again, we'll get into more details of that. As you spoke of the initiation of the passing of your mom, it's, for me, my awareness in my personal experiences, the pieces on the chessboard move. We take on different roles energetically, and there's also a process in the grieving and the trying to make sense, not just of the impermanence of this human life, but I believe subconsciously we get into this reconciliation of where we were open and not open to receive, where we're open to receive abundance, when we're open to receive love, or we're open to receive support, and any filters that we put on it for whatever reasons along the way with particular significant people in our lives. And of course, our mothers and our fathers are the most significant in so many ways. I always say that our parents are our ultimate teachers, because they're the ones, other than God, if you will, they're the first to betray us, no matter what you do. No matter how perfect they are, that betrayal, that disappointing, the letting down is always going to come first from mom and dad, whether you can get fed on time or didn't get the intention you needed or didn't get picked up in a particular way. The severance begins there. But in the grieving process, again, this grieving, where could I have received more? Where could I have loved more? Where could I have seen where I wasn't seeing before? And that just doesn't happen in the transition of a parent, but it can happen in transition of a relationship, personal relationship that evolves, in work, in health. And how are you seeing, based on what I'm talking about now, during this rebirth and renewal, how that initiation of receiving is alchemizing something in a way that perhaps we weren't capable of experiencing before?
I'd say for me personally, the experience with my family was in the parenting of them I reparented myself, and they got the parenting that they never had. And so there was a huge, we talk about, shifting generational trauma. There was a massive cycle shift in the experience that I willingly and consciously chose to step into, with that dynamic with my mum and my dad. Actually, my dad's still here, but obviously my mum passed in December. And through that experience, it's humbled me in a way that I could have never thought possible. And I think sometimes, John, when we have these spiritual awakenings, we spend, for me personally, I've spoken to quite a lot of people about this, is we spend quite a lot of time actually out of our physical bodies, because we want to have this, this deeper connection to our higher selves, and our star family and our team, and have these very like multi-dimensional experiences, which is all wonderful and beautiful. There's a deeper initiation that gets to happen should we enter into that participation, when we actually land into the body. And there's a period where it can feel that we're not connected anymore, or we're not spiritual, we don't have access to the experiences that were happening before. But actually it's within us, it's embodied within us. It's almost like through the kind of the bypassing of the physical body and the acceptance of the physical body, and coming back into the physical body and being embodied in the body, in this here now moment, we integrate at a cellular level what it truly means to be human. And there's a deeper awareness of compassion and unconditional love that comes through that space. Like, I am seeing humans, and I'm seeing myself in such a different way that I never thought possible had I not gone through that process of caring for my mum and going through her death. And that's teary to share that.
Beautiful. All right, y'all, we're gonna get into special offer in a little bit, and let's go ahead and dive into a little bit of Q&A. I have a feeling that's gonna be some beautiful wisdom coming through here. Maria, let's start with you. If I can ask you to mute your microphone, please.
Hi, thank you very much for the opportunity. And hi to Zoe. So I'm not sure what question even to ask, because the only thing I know is I did see that announcement and I had known to be on the call. And the timing did work out, but normally never did. So I really felt to be on the call. And I'm normally not the person who's chosen. That's what I got, to be here and to raise my hand. So if there's any message for my guides, what would be important for me to know now, I'm very open.
Okay. So the first thing, Maria, that comes through is there's this feeling of doubt, of doubting yourself. And this next kind of 4 to 6 month period for you, there's an invitation to really own who you are, and own the message that comes through you, and start allowing yourself to play with more of what you desire in your life. There's this kind of, you get to a certain point and then there's a safety bar that gets put on. You're like, okay, that's too much, I better not expand too much, or I better not ask for too much, because there's I feel safe here, this feels like a good space to hang out. And what your higher self is bringing through is, it's time to kind of take the safety bar off, stop doubting yourself, and allow yourself to freely play in the expression of your truth, freely play in the expansion of you. And so what does it feel like to spend every moment opening up your energy field, expanding yourself, letting yourself be seen, hearing your inner guidance, and also taking action on that inner guidance. And that's where that kind of doubt comes in. It's like you're very, very attuned and you listen, but then it's like the action, it's like you take a little micro step forward. So they're asking you it's time to take that leap. It's time to take that leap forward. And they said, you already know this. I'm not telling you anything that you don't know. And if you kind of were to imagine the word doubt, and imagine in your mind that you are just going to see the word doubt, almost, you can do this now. Close your eyes and imagine the word doubt. And I want you to imagine that you are just kind of erasing over the word doubt. And you're just kind of scribbling it out. And in its place, you're writing the word certainty. Certain. I am certain of my truth. I am certain of my intuitive knowledge. I am certain of who I am. I am certain of me. I am me. Take a deep breath in. And deep breath out. There you go. And just opening your eyes when you're ready. How are you feeling?
Yes, I feel the doubt. But yeah, it's exactly where I am at the moment. And yeah.
So with that little exercise, you could do that every day for 21 days. So
Yes.
we're replacing doubt with certainty. And so this is something that's really important. We're really good at clearing. We're really good at healing, right? We do this all day long. We've been doing this for years, collectively and individually. If we're not filling back in with who we desire to be, these words, these emotions, these thought patterns, these programs will just they'll come back in, right? It's the same when you're kind of running energy through your system and you're clearing your energy or you're doing an energy healing. You want to bring in who you are. So bringing in more light, bringing in more truth, right? So we're just replacing that word doubt for certainty. Assuring who you are through that new word. So, and you guys can try this at home as well. It's a really easy exercise that just came through. This is part of that multidimensional channeling, I guess. There's always like little exercises that come in and they're really simple as well. We don't have to overcomplicate this. So there's a specific word that you have. What do you want to replace it with? And expanding in that new choice, that new thought form.
Beautiful. Maria, take this forward. And also this gets into part of the conversation also that we were having earlier. That's a very crucial part of the conversation during this time. And I want to emphasize just how important it is that we have to make conscious choice, that we have to be in the practice of choice of what it is that we're wanting and taking a step forward, even if it means blindly sometimes, even though it really isn't, because you know what you want in your heart and in your mind and what you want to feel in your body. So daily practices to really be in the authorship of the experiences that you're creating with yourself and with others, or we can look at the worlds that don't seem to be at the world and look at the things that don't seem to be working. And I'll preempt that by saying, first, there's so many things that are working.
Yes.
There's so many things that are absolutely amazing, and the miracles that unfold and the goodness that lives in this world supersedes any negativity that is being broadcast through channels that for some reason are invested in broadcasting that negativity. We don't have to get into their why. I don't care at this point. What I do care is that you're creating the reality that you want based on how you're directing your energy and your consciousness and your choices.
Yes.
And we love you so much. I love you all so much. The speakers that come on here love you all so much that we keep giving free practices and tools and resonance and harmony and community. to remind each other of the power to do so, the power that is in you to do exactly that and more. So you can come in here and receive, but then let go and get into the old habits, but start creating new habits, all of us. Let's raise the standards for ourselves. Let's bring that dignity that we wish others to receive, that we may witness that they're not receiving. But let's give that desire of dignity to ourselves and live it and become it and allow it. So Maria, take this tool and run with it. Run with it. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Maria.
Beautiful. Love your energy, Maria. So beautiful. Let's go into some more Q&A. Now we're getting to the special offer in a little bit. But let's go. Sherry, let's go to you. Welcome to the call.
Thank you so much. Very honored to be here. You know, everything talking about Zoe, it rings with the heart, obviously. It rings with this time and space. And I, along with a lot of other people, I think are suffering at the moment. And so myself, I've been suffering with great mental and physical health for quite a while. And I want to be living my purpose in this transition time. I want to be giving more. And the resistance is just so great. I don't know why. I mean, I can say a lot of reasons why, but I didn't know if there was just anything you might at all feel or with, or I love the practice, the last practice you gave with the erase and the new word. Like, that was awesome. But I don't know. I'm tired of not going forward, and was also like a caretaker for a lot of years, and that really wore me down physically and emotionally because I was doing it while I was sick also. And I just feel like I'm in this hole, and no matter what I'm doing, I don't feel like I'm coming out, doing my service, my love, my purpose. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing.
Thank you for allowing tears. Sorry.
You have nothing to be sorry for. Nothing at all. So let's release this massive weight that's tied to the vibration of purpose. Because there's a huge expectation in your field that's like weighed you down with this sense of like purpose, or not living your purpose, or not doing enough, or I'm not enough, or I'm not showing up, or I've been here forever. So let's just allow in this moment the awareness that you get to free yourself from this expectation of purpose, right? Let's give purpose a new definition and a new meaning, one that is wrapped in compassion, in unconditional love, in self-acceptance, in worthiness, in you are enough, right? I just want you to close your eyes for a minute and see this vibration of purpose, this definition of purpose. If purpose was a particular kind of pattern or a shape, and allow this feeling of purpose to run down through your physical body and all the way down through the soles of your feet and down into the earth. And just releasing this attachment to purpose as it currently stands and its current incantation of what it means. And just freeing yourself, freeing up the energy, freeing up the field to allow a new definition of purpose. A purpose that is loving and caring and kind to yourself. That is loving and caring and kind to your physical body. That you are already in purpose because you are in your physical body. You are already in purpose because you breathe. You are existing in this reality. And I want you to imagine a door opening up before you. And everyone can do this as well. And I want you to imagine that you're opening up this door. And behind this door is filled with golden light frequency. And just allowing yourself to walk through this door into this field of golden light that is bringing to you the exact steps, the exact people, places, and things that is aligning you at a cellular, atomic, and subatomic level of any and all changes that need to happen on this earth material plane, and also subconsciously to align you to a purpose that is light, that is joyful, that is honoring you and your truth and who you are at a soul level in this reality. Let's take a deep breath in. Holding that breath for a moment and breathing out. Good. When you're ready, just slowly opening your eyes. Now, that transmission that was coming through, it's not going to magically shift your reality, but it is just bringing awareness to what was needed to the start point, which is the first step. When I was tuning into your physical body, I was getting burnt out, like you're exhausted, and in the acceptance of your exhaustion, give up. And in the giving up, the space will allow you to know what action steps are needed to move forward. And it will start to, instead of spiraling down into that abyss of nowhere land, it will start to spiral you up into that golden light frequency of your heart, connected to purpose with a new vision, a new intention. And I highly recommend to, if you want to dive deeper into this, to book in for a session and we can pick up from this moment. But and any of you listening to this is really powerful to bring an awareness, because I see this so often. We put so much heaviness and expectation, like I can feel it in my body, of this word purpose, right? And so we want to redefine what that means to us at a soul level, because we are here for so much more than this expectation of purpose. Purpose is almost created. It's like it's heavy now. We need to redefine this. So how are you feeling with that?
I'm a little speechless. It was
powerful.
It was very, very, very powerful, very, very meaningful.
Yeah.
When you had me go into the room, which was divine light, I felt that protection that we want you, again, not with purpose the way traditionally used, but we want you to be well and succeed, in life, whatever that is. And
amazing
feeling of being supported.
Beautiful. I'd recommend, we're going to run the replay, of course, after the call. Come back and listen and get back in and have space and relationship and openness, and maybe even bring in the word surrender into the transmission, and receive. Blessings to you, Sherry. Thank you for coming on. Y'all, we're going to get to more Q&A. I've got to call on y'all that are live right now. It's like I'm feeling feeling you. So we're going to get into that in a little bit. But I want to go through the special offer, because what's being offered here through a practice that's going to build within you, and then the opportunity to work with Zoe one-on-one in session is available through the special offer as well. So the link, Chris, put the link for the special offer in the chat box one more time, if you don't mind. There it is, y'all. It's in the chat box. You can also click on it on the live page, the special offer box. On the replay page, it's in the page as well, and you can always access the special offers by going to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/marketplace. And so why don't you guide us all through the special packages that you've put together for us.
So what I am offering on April 22nd is a 21-day rebirth and renewal journey that I have run various iterations of this program over the last few years, and every time a new theme, a new intention comes through. And for those of you that may have joined this before, there's brand new meditations. There's it's like a whole new journey. And so we will gather for 21 days, and we have 4 live calls on the 22nd of April and the 29th of April, the 6th of May, and the 13th of May. So our first call is our opening ceremony, where we'll go through what we're going to be doing together for the 21 days. And then the second and third call will be a guided live journey meditation, and also Q&A. So it's a chance for you to ask your questions, share what's coming up for you, any breakthroughs that you're having, any insights and clarity, and just, yeah, anything that you want to pop into the space. We will also have a private group where we can check in daily and celebrate each other. So these journeys are to create a consistent daily practice, and we will do some really deep belief repatterning work. We will be doing a lot of energetic work, breath work, meditation, and it's bite-sized and easy and digestible for you to manage with your day-to-day busyness of life. But we will also be looking at our schedules and our time and what we are spending that on. I am in a physical period of spring at the moment, being in the UK. And so I'll be adding in some golden nuggets on how to clean up our physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual energy fields to create more space for what wants to come in. So we'll be looking at the energy leaks. We'll be looking at any kind of emotional clutter, physical clutter, spiritual clutter that is holding us back. And we will be connecting in a way that will help us to support each other. So over the last 15 years, these are kind of some of the techniques and tools that I've learned and that have been channeled through me, that have helped me to make massive shifts in my life and hold me accountable, and also help me feel more grounded in these big rebirth and renewal phases. So if you are ready for a jump start, a kickstart, something that you're just ready for something to change, then this will be a really beautiful invitation to set your intentions in a shared environment, in a group environment, and also on your individual journey as well. So, I mean, read through the page of all the information. I won't read it all to you. And then with that, you will have access to a meditation library with about 20 different tools and meditations for your day-to-day practice. So, we're starting on April 22nd, so you can at least dive into those meditations ahead of time and start listening and enjoying some of that. And then the second package is I've opened up a very special one-on-one offering for a session with me. Now, I only offer these sessions once or twice a year. They're only through John's platform to his community. So it's a great chance to get a very, 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 very discounted session with me. And we can expand more on some of the things that I've been sharing with the community today. And I try to bring through as much information as possible in the time that we have together. They're all recorded, all the sessions, and you can either have questions prepared, or we can see what wants to come through when you are live with me. So there we go.
And Sherry was asking, all of the recordings for the special offer, the live calls are recorded. So
Yes.
we'll get replays of those if you can't attend live.
Yes.
So that's part of what's offered on there. And your calendar is fairly available for individual sessions. Is that correct?
Yes, I have space at the moment. So
Fantastic. So I'll book sooner rather than later and get on there and get on with Zoe. Y'all, the package A is only $97. And I love this 21 days also because it really helps to anchor in the consistency of creation, the consistency of intentionality, the consistency of focusing in a particular direction. And again, we're becoming extreme. The powerful creators that we were talking that we hope that we'd become 5 to 7 years ago, it's here, y'all. It's like, how do we start melding those creations together? And again, that intentional focus, that directness, it's one of the key ingredients, if not the key ingredients. Well, you're the key ingredients and your intention is, but this is a reset and a habits forming high vibrational transmission and anchor that comes in. I highly recommend. So again, package A is $97, a 2 payment option on that if that is a little more easeful for you. And if you want the 30-minute private session with package A, that's $197 with 2 payment option as well. And again, I hope you all take advantage of the special offers that we have here on BTO. Again, the links in the chat box, the links on the replay page, on the live page, see the special offer. If you're watching the replay on YouTube, look for the link for the special offer in the comment section. Or always, again, you can find the special offers on beyondtheordinaryshow.com/marketplace. And with that, I want to continue with the promised live caller. So we're going to dive in here again. And Shauna, I'm going to start with you. Michelle, we'll go to you afterwards. Susie, I want to call on you also. So we're gonna roll through some of these. I have a feeling there's a lot of beautiful transmission that's coming through. And welcome,
Thank
Shauna.
you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sean. And may I thank you for this platform. It was through your show that I first was introduced to Zoe. I can't remember the year. I want to say 2018, like it was a long time ago.
it was.
Hi, Zoe. It's so wonderful to
Hi.
see you. And I just want to say to the community, you know, I've worked with Zoe one-on-one and in wonderful group settings, containers. It is so just mind-blowing and life-altering and so supportive. So if you're thinking about it, I highly, highly recommend. I've never called in to the show before. So this is the first time. I'm feeling kind of nervous. I'm a listener. I just love to listen and send energy and receive it. But I felt to share today. So Zoe, I'm just so wonderful to be in your energy and see you and sending so much love for this time of change and integration you're going through. And as a mom, I just thank you so much for that beautiful word about how powerful when we lose our mother physically, because mothers are the creators of life. You know, it is such a strong bond, and so thank you for that. And I feel that the two shares before me really did speak to me as well. But I guess just my little bit of shares, you know, I came out of a huge period of burnout, much like Sherry was describing, when I first met Zoe in 2018 and did some intensive work with her, and it made such a difference. I also was burnt out from caregiving. I have a child with autism. I was a single parent at the time, and worked in a very, very dense, energetically dense setting in federal prisons here in Canada. I worked with women for about a decade. And after coming into this burnout period, it was like a rebirth for me back then. And I started to, I took time off, I took a leave, and I started working intuitively with clients and started coaching because I just couldn't do the intensive work I was doing before. And so spent a few years building up a coaching practice and actually incorporated horses into that practice. So I was doing intuitive coaching with horses.
Here's what your
And
question is, Shauna. Yeah.
my question is, 2 years ago, I received a message to go back to school and do my master's. And I've just completed a master's in psychology, and I'm now a registered psychotherapist. And been in this energy of very different than in the intuitive plane, very grounded, very human. And so I'm also in this sort of strange gestation period of sort of marrying those two worlds. And I guess my question, Zoe, was, is there anything coming through for me in terms of just blending all of my life experience and work, and how I can be of best service to others in the near future as I start down this new path as a psychotherapist who offers
Okay.
intuitive work?
Well, they came through straight away.
Thank you.
Yeah. So write your story.
Mm,
Write down your story.
okay.
Write down your journey. Write down your experiences and how you learned from the experiences, how it evolved you and helped you to grow as a person, and how now through those experiences and the simultaneous directions that you've moved in, one in this more kind of intuitive spirit world, seer world, and one in the more kind of grounded foundational tools world, and how you are bridging these two parts of you. And so it is in the story that you will share and attract the people that are wanting to work with you, because they want to have both elements. They want to have the yin and the yang. They want to have both aspects. And so the reason why you were starting to share your story to the group was because that is your, and you, so you essentially you answered your own question, is to share your story, is to write down, and you could even do some videos. But I think there's something important to start with putting pen to paper and writing your story. And it will also be very transformative for you as well to read back and look on some of the experiences that you have gone through. And in the writing of your story, how you will put this new version of a kind of like a coaching or sessions, or however you want to frame it, will become known in the writing of the story.
Thank you.
You're
Yes,
welcome.
thank you so much.
All right, Shauna,
Yeah.
blessings to you on your
Thank
new
you.
journey and your
Thank you.
renewal and rebirth. Yes.
Yes.
Amazing. Yeah. Many, many blessings.
Thank
All
you.
right, let's continue. Michelle, let's go to you. Welcome.
Thank you, John. It's good. So good to see you again.
Good to see you as well.
Hi, Zoe. I just listened to your recording with Zoe from 2022 just to get primed this
Oh.
morning.
Awesome.
It was lovely. And then I felt really nudged to ask a question. I had just finished co-creating a book with a man who was a channel. We finished in June last year, and his job was exactly what you were just sharing. He was downloading channel messages, and I was sharing my lived experience stories so that the high frequency messages were more relatable to people reading. So we finished writing and he died 8 hours later. So
Wow.
it was just an experience, after being connected with him. Anyway, he had 22 more chapters downloaded for me to continue writing without him. And I am feeling a bit stuck with that. And I'm wondering, I don't know what I'm missing. I'm feeling I need to write from a more divine feminine perspective in this book too, and without disrespecting what the intention was from the my co-writer. And I'm a bit stuck, and I wanted really to emphasize our divine, our feminine and masculine, and how we can grow that within us before we can have a balance of that out in the world. And the books are about the new paradigm and the expansion and how we see that in our daily living. But I feel a huge responsibility to finish this book too, and to finish putting the messages out into the world. But I'm just a bit stuck stuck with that. I'm not sure what I'm not sure what I'm missing, Zoe, and that's kind of my question. I need a
Okay.
boost or a bump.
Okay, sure. So for starts, truly sorry to hear about your friend passing last year. And the stuckness is not so much stuckness, it's more a grieving process that you've been going through. And also the grieving of the companionship that you had with that person, the collaboration, the partnership, the grieving of the creativity that was coming through with your feminine and masculine dynamics. So I just wanted to kind of say, you know, it's not stuck, it's just that it's been a grieving process for you. Three things actually that was coming through. One, connect to his being more when you are, because there's a really strong part of you that wants to be in integrity and intentional with the completion of this book. Had he still been alive today, how would you write it? And so that's the question that you need to ask him, because he will, his soul will be with you to help write. It will come through you, it will be channeled through you. So as you open your feminine vessel to receive the actionable steps of how you are going to write it, he will work with you through that spirit world. So that's what he was sharing. What was also coming through was let go of it needing to be anything, so you can release this word. And again, these words, right, that we have such density to, this word of purpose, this word of responsibility. It is the joy frequency that we expand into in our creativity that allows us to create change on this planet. And so what happens is the ego gets in the way and makes it work. It makes it challenging. It makes it hard. It makes it like we're sludging through treacle or trying to run up a hill with 1,000 bags on our backs. So we have to let go of the density and also the expectations of how our egos expect it to be, right? And so you can tap back into that joy frequency, and that will inevitably open up your feminine creativity and also allow his masculinity to flow at one with you when you're putting pen to paper. That's important as well, that they're sharing is with the rest of the content that wants to come through. Grab a bunch of journals and it will be pen to paper first, and then you will transcribe it up onto the laptop or computer.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much. That's a
You're
boost.
welcome.
I love
My pleasure.
it.
These are like
Thank you.
laser sessions.
I'll see you on the 22nd then. I am so
Love it.
excited.
Love
Yes.
it. Yeah,
Thank
beautiful.
you.
Thanks for joining.
It's good to see you here, Michelle. And Michelle, if I may, if I could share a message.
Yes, please.
He's just saying, have fun. It's like the greatest honor that we could give to our loved ones, and certainly to my parents. And I had this realization with my daughters also, that the greatest joy that they could give me is to see them happy. See them happy, to like really enjoy, like enjoying themselves, like flourishing in joy. And I feel him coming in from the other side, just be happy, enjoy this life. It's like milk it for all that it's worth, and don't worry about those little things, because you honor, and this is him, you honor me most when you're living your life, when you're in joy.
That's so him, John. That's so him. Thank you so much for doing that for me. I appreciate it. And thank you, Zoe.
Yeah,
thank you.
All right, thanks for being on here. All right, let's continue. Susie, welcome to the call.
Hi, thank you so much for calling on me. I'm so grateful to be here, because usually the time zones over here on the Europe side don't really allow me to be. So my first time live. Thank you so much, John. And yeah, such an honor to be here with you, Zoe. And it's really so beautiful and inspiring to hear you share about your mother and caring for her. So thank you so much. My kind of question is around actually family and yeah, just looking for some guidance. My parents are going through a very hard time right now. And, you know, I see it as their kind of opportunity for this rebirth, like we all go through. But they are facing a lot of wounds and yeah, they're suffering a little bit. And I'm actually staying with them at the moment, so I'm quite close to it. And I guess I really want some extra support on how to help them. I kind of undulate between, you know, needing to take a step back to then coming in a bit too strong, wanting to help them, you know, kind of save them. And then also often I'm just in my alignment and in my heart and I don't really have to think about it and I'm just there and supporting them in just the natural heart flow. But yeah, I just would love to open that up and just see if there's anything that comes through. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Oh, I can hear myself talking. Hello? No? Okay.
You're good
so,
now.
yeah, so a few things were coming through as you were sharing. The first thing is let them be who they choose to be. And
Yeah.
quite often when we have this expanded awareness of reality, we want to help everyone. Of course we do. Of course we want to help our families live the best lives they possibly could. And also there is great wisdom in letting people choose who they choose to be and ask them, how do they need support? Right? And so we're not in that energy of fixing or solving or saving. We are in the energy of accepting, allowing, compassion, and unconditional love. The other thing that was coming through was detach any expectation to outcome. And really important for you, when I was feeling into the family dynamic, I felt this very like dysregulated nervous system. It's like almost like my heart started to go. So in the regulation of your nervous system and taking excellent care of you, and as you so eloquently put it, like most of the time I'm actually detached from this. I could feel quite zen. So this is your chance to come into mastery of how can you be in close proximity with this intensity and also be extremely grounded and heart-centered and taking care of you and also asking how they need support. And sometimes they may not ask for it or need it or help it. They might want to continue being in their story or their energy. And so detaching that needs to change, detaching that it needs to be anything different than what it is. And in the releasing of that, there's this kind of period of, I can breathe and spaciousness, that if they are ready and when they are ready, they may never be ready, but if and when they are ready, you are there with this beautiful, great big open heart, and the door is open for them to walk through and start to ask you questions. And it might not be now, it might be next year, it might be 5 years from now, it might be 10 years from now. Our deepest work on this physical earth experience is how can we continue to show up in compassion with our family and not trying to fix, save, or solve them. Right? And in that process, there's an unfoldment that happens that those that are ready will awaken to that truth if and when they are ready in this life, and they may never be ready. And so our role is how can we love them even deeply with more compassion with who they are, of all of their flaws and all of their things. And the little girl in you, of course, like wants them to be good, wants them to be healthy and happy and vibrant. And it hurts to see them suffering, right? But remember, everything is a choice. And on some level, their subconscious program is choosing that suffering. in that way. And you can just keep loving them and open that door, but ask them, how do they need support? Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
And
Well, I feel also going back to the beginning of the call and the process of the observer process and go back into that practice may be really powerful and illuminating also. And Zoe, I interrupted you, please.
no, that was it. I think that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. It's so much more intensified when you're kind of in the family home, the family energy. And so there's little things that you can do to bless that space with your expansion, your heart filled. So perhaps when they're out, open all the windows, let the air flow through. When they're out, perhaps burn some sage or light a candle every day of an intention of like, this is setting the field. A really great hack as well to create a very beautiful vortex of unconditional love in the house is to put crystals. My mum told me this actually when I was a kid, in each corner of the house, and then put one in the middle of the house in the highest point possible that you can. So you might have to stand on a chair and put it on the ceiling, or you put it in the attic, and it creates a pyramid, right? And so it creates this beautiful kind of grid system of, and you can infuse it with your intention. So anyone that walks into this space will be blessed 1,000 times, or will be blessed with all the love. And so you can do these like little energy hacks for the house as well, and it will help you as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's so beautiful. Such a beautiful reminder. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Blessings.
Yeah. Thank
All right,
you.
let's continue here. As we continue, y'all, I want to remind you of the special offer again, the 21-day intensive with Zoe. I'll call it intensive. They are recorded. There's meditations before the 21 days start that are in the special offer as well. Again, package A is $97. Y'all go through that page, see how it resonates for you. And I highly recommend it as far as clarity and vision and intention and building the discipline, which I think Pablo Coelho, the writer, says that the gap between our dreams and the success we seek is discipline. Is really being, and we can call it devotion. How are our actions aligned in devotion to that dream? So what it is that we truly want in our hearts. And start applying it, start grounding it. You have all the tools from up here in this embodied form. What are you gonna do with all those tools? Start putting them to use and see what wonders you're capable of creating. So again, this immersion with Zoe, I believe is going to be a powerful facilitation for bringing those dreams and facilitating them into reality. And of course, the one-on-one session on top of that, which for both packages combined, it's $197. Again, the link is in the chat box. It's on the replay page, on the live page, and always on beyondtheordinaryshow.com/marketplace. So there's a great question that came in, and Kirsty, I'm so glad you're asking this because I can relate, and to bring consciousness to this, I think is really powerful. So Kirsty writes, I have good flow in my life and businesses. Last months have been strange in terms of my requests. Emails and ideas to potential customers are apparently lost in a void with few or late responses. I wonder if this kind of winter waiting for spring, if this is winter waiting for a spring explosion. I have no fear. I just wonder what it is. People around me keep pushing me. Am I right in my feeling of waiting and the timing will come? Would love any suggestions that you have.
So I just want to check that I'm understanding the question. It's in response to your business that you have at the moment. Is that right?
It's in response to business, and I'll read it again because it's it may have gotten lost in the translation. I have good flow in life in my business. The last months have been strange in terms of my requests, emails, and ideas to potential customers are apparently lost.
Okay.
I'm wondering if I'll call it these delays or these miscommunications or the slowness in business is part of a season, or if there's something else that's playing.
Okay. Thanks for reading that again, because my dyslexia, I was like, my brain is not understanding that very well, but now I do.
I
Thank
had to
you.
paraphrase to make a little more,
Yeah.
to ground in the question a little bit more.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. Well, so interestingly, last month, well, this month we had, we went through these eclipses. There's more direct energy from April 1st. I'm speaking to quite a lot of people that have been having similar experiences online as well. And there's something shifting right now with that. So it's not, okay, sorry, I'm just tuning in a bit more. In relation to you on a personal level, there is, I keep getting this word rest, like there's a period of rest at the moment, and had you been busy, it would not have given you the space to rest in the way that you need to at the moment. And I'm getting in the next kind of month to 3 months, things will start to flow again, but there's something that there's something that's coming in that you're not aware of that you'll be thankful for the space. That's kind of what I'm getting. So sometimes there's a period of, it feels like things aren't flowing because there's something else the space is needed for something else that's coming in. And it's quite ironic that you were saying about the oral surgery. So you can't speak, right? You can't speak, you can't show up at this moment. And so I'm getting rest. And there's something as well, when I'm tuning into your systems, there's something in the deliverability. There's something that shifted with your systems, with the emails, that wants to be looked at as well. So there's just an admin thing there, but the overall theme I'm getting is take this time for you at the moment and create some space.
Beautiful. And I would add to that, Zoe, that there is something in the energies.
Yeah.
That there is something moving forward. And y'all, we've been on a lot of these calls, y'all. A lot of us already. We already know the ebbs and the flows of the different energies, and some are very contracting, some are very opening. And it's wonderful when we can gather here and kind of amplify the higher vibrational energies and potentiality and hold a steady frequency and field for another. That's why I like working with a lot of the speakers that are on the show personally. And also why we resonate towards each other and develop deep friendships, because there's a co-creative field that amplifies the standard that we're holding for ourselves and for each other. And so as we navigate some of these waves that are coming through to be in the practices, to be in awareness, we can question why it feels funky, but we don't have to question where we can lean in for support and one another continuous spaces, because that has been pretty consistent. And so leaning in for support, learning something new, rebirth and renew. We're constantly learning and reapplying even old teachings into the newness that we are. And it has a profound effect on our creative capacity and our capacity to navigate with greater confidence instead of fear, greater certainty of what it is that we're truly connected to, rather than awaiting for the other shoe to drop and being lost in the transition. It's powerful what we're navigating now, because the energies are really calling us into recognizing the mastery that we've accumulated to, all of us, in our own individual journey. So it's quite powerful. I so appreciate the question. Let's go. So it's the end of our call. It's like we're at the top of
So fast.
at the top of the time. I know. Y'all, we're gonna run the replay for the rest of the week, so it'll be available. Come back into the transmissions, the practices that are coming in, that Zoe's sharing and ground in. The special offer: dive in, have your session with Zoe, go through the 21 days transformational journey with Zoe as well. And as we're wrapping up tonight, Zoe, are there some last words that you'd like to leave for everybody that's listening?
Well, first off, it's been such a pleasure and a gift to be back with you again, John, and your community. I I never really know what's going to come through in our conversations, and I'm always learning so much in with connecting to your community. So it's been beautiful. I'd say the main thing to end on is there is this collective uncertainty that's happening at the moment, and we are on this precipice of so much change, and it's how we can show up in the day-to-day moments that will help to find that grounding and stability, and building what I like to call like strong spiritual foundations, so that when we do start to kind of rise up like this collective phoenix rising, we're anchored in a deeper connection to our bodies and to the earth and to each other. So it's time at the moment, as I said, like chopping wood and carrying water, and it can feel repetitive and it can feel like this cycle, but if we're consciously choosing for this experience, it's going to help pave the way for what wants to flow. So there is this big deep invitation of being very, very grounded at the moment, and that will help to create so much more in our individual lives and also collectively. Yeah.
Well, thank you for being on today. Thank you for sharing so openly about the transitions and your own personal rebirth and renewal as well.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you for all the golden threads that you brought into the different colors and how you've touched everybody's hearts today. So
thanks,
it was
John.
wonderful to have you on.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Blessings to you and everybody on the call listening to the replay. Just acknowledging just again the mastery that you're recognizing yourself to be, and I hope you feel the truth of that in your heart and in your beingness, that the light that you're amplifying now is really a gauge for a vitality that you've always been gifted with, that you're waking up to and reclaiming and choosing to rebirth and renew at this time. So I bow to each and every one of you in namaste, and I look forward to seeing y'all on the next call. Have a great day.